These are missiles, and this is the player moments before getting completely destroyed. But how did it come to this? It all started with a simple idea to make a game where you deliver packages, but I quickly realized this could end up being another walking simulator. So, I decided to make every trip filled with challenges at every turn. This led to me working on an obstacle system, and I knew it was going to make the game much more fun. By my estimation, it was meant to take just 2 days. I ended up spending 2 weeks. To build a good system, I needed to know all the possible kinds of obstacles I could have, so I began searching for various ideas in other games. This was important to know the bounds, possibilities, and limits in the system to be created. I ended up with about 20 different obstacle types, but
who's supposed to do all this?
It would be too much work to try and get it all done at once, so the next step was to narrow the list down to just 2 obstacles for a start, which would be the meteors and the missiles. Once this is done, I'll slowly add the other obstacle types over time. For the first obstacle type, the target-based obstacle, I thought to myself, it shouldn't be so hard, right? I just need to make a system that targets the player and launches the meteor. Seems like a foolproof way to dial up the tension. But I was wrong. It was super inaccurate, and when it wasn't, it turned out to be quite punishing. This was super evident when I had people playtest the game. More on how you can help playtest the game later in this video. So, back to the problem. The obstacle system needs to allow the player have fun under tension while leaving some room for some strategy and sense of progression. Here's another idea I had. Instead of a direct hit, the obstacle targets a space just ahead of the player to introduce some sort of predict and dodge dynamic. The implementation was quite simple. We just need to find a point in front of the player, add some random offset, and launch the projectile towards that point. But this too, after implemented, it had its pitfalls. Aiming in front increased the difficulty, and when I decided to increase the range, it was too easy. So I decided to try aiming behind the player to simulate some sort of high tension escape scene in movies, but that often didn't pose enough threat to players who quickly learn the ropes. It has been about a week now, and I felt like I was never going to find a solution. Not until I stumbled upon steering behaviors. I know what you're thinking about, but fair, isn't that completely unrelated? Just hear me out. The pursuit steering behavior piqued my interest because it was quite simple but dynamic, and here's how it works. We get the player's position, then predict where they will be within the next few seconds using the player's velocity. This is usually used for AI steering, but we could totally make this work. So I started working on the pursuit behavior, and alas, I was done. This was way better than the previous solutions, and I was able to add a bit of unpredictability by randomizing the number of seconds into the future the system could predict. This new solution introduced a learning curve that was challenging yet rewarding, and it came with an unexpected bonus of solving an issue where the player could just stand still and not be hit in the previous solutions.
And by unexpected, I mean completely expected!
But the journey doesn't end after this victory. The next challenge is to create a player-seeking obstacle type, one that could actively seek out the player. The idea is to create an obstacle that not only poses a threat by its presence, but also its ability to chase the player over a certain distance. Let's take a look at how our previous work provided a foundation. Speaking of foundations, after the last video, we crossed 500 subscribers. Thank you all so much, and if you are new here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so the almighty algorithm can push this video to more viewers. Anyway, back to the video. The dynamic targeting system for the meteors offered the blueprints we can use going forward. Here's how that was done. First, we get a target point, spawn the missiles above the player, and then provide the player's position to begin the chase. Easy peasy, right? After a couple of hours and countless errors, this is what it looks like. This was exciting to see in action, but it was far from perfect. The initial implementation led to missiles that were too accurate, leaving little room for the player to maneuver and strategize. This felt more like a game of luck than skill, which wasn't the experience I was aiming for. So, after several iterations, I introduced variables that could affect the missile speed, accuracy, and time it takes before it runs out of fuel. This allowed for a more dynamic gameplay where players could actually use their skills and environment to invade the incoming threat. As I continue developing the game, the obstacle library will expand and each addition will bring its unique twist to the gameplay, ensuring that players always have something new to look forward to. Every feedback has been invaluable, and if you're interested in playtesting and contributing to the development of Tossdown, you can join the Discord. Link is in the description below, and also there are links to my socials where I regularly post updates. Next time, I'll be showing you how I came up with the new art style, which I'm sure a lot of you returning must have noticed. So don't forget to like and hit that notification bell to stay updated when that video drops. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.